Exactly how much clearer do you want me to be? So I asked you this question last week and you found every which way but not to answer it. Just how many grooming gangs have we got in London?
So the situation in London in relation to young people being groomed is different to other parts of the country. So what we have in London is young people being groomed, use your words, not mine, to be using county lines. In relation to sometimes...
Okay, let me make it clear. Sorry, I wasn't clear enough. I was told I shouldn't be saying rape gangs. They are rape gangs. I'm talking about rape gangs. I'm not talking about country lines. But to go back, nobody likes me saying rape gangs, although they are rape gangs. Grooming gangs that I would call rape gangs. Tell me about them. How many of those have we got? Not country lines, those particular groups.
To avoid any misunderstanding, can she define what she means by that?
Yes, if you look at what's gone on in Rotherham, where there are people taking young girls, grooming them for sex, that is what I'm talking about.
We know in London there are issues about exploitation of young people, but they're not as defined by the member in her definition of what those types of gangs are.
So are you saying we haven't got the same sort of gangs that are in Rotherham, Bradford and lots of other places in the country?
Just for your misunderstanding, what does she mean by that?
You know full well what I mean by that. It's all over the television. You know exactly what I mean by that. These gangs of people that are grooming young girls for sex. Do we actually have those in London?
Today we need to give a full answer. Can she be clear what she means by that? I'm not clear what she means.
How much clearer do you want me to be? Look at the gangs that they've uncovered in other parts of the country. Do we have those gangs in London? It's a simple question. The answer is very simple. It's yes or no. I'm not asking you where those gangs are because the police might not want them to be disclosed. I'm asking you, do we have those sort of gangs in London?
I'm not sure why she's so nervous to say what she means. What do you mean?
No. I am saying exactly what I mean. I'm saying, have we got any of those grooming gangs in London?
I'm unclear, Chair, what is meant by the question. If she could spell it out, I can answer.
I've just spelt it out. Are you not listening? It's the sort of gangs that groom young girls at a young age for sex. Exactly how much clearer do you want me to be?
So we do have issues in London with young girls being groomed for county lines. Some of those girls are used for sex, and that's one of the reasons why I've set up things like the Lighthouse, funded by City Hall, why we've set up 4 hubs to help survivors of child sexual abuse, why we're investing in London's Violence and Exploitation Support Service, why I commissioned the HMI to look into the issue of child exploitation, why the Met Police Service now employs 1,200 child protection officers, while we have Operations Interior, first begun in London, while we're the only police force that began the V100 targeting the 100 most violent
I just asked a yes-no question. So approximately how many of these gangs that I am talking about, that I do not know why you don't understand the sort of gangs I'm talking about, exactly, or approximately I should say, to give you leeway, approximately how many of those gangs have we got in London? Because the public is very, very rightfully concerned about this and concerned about these young women.
Well, I'm still none the wiser why she's so nervous about saying what she means. But in London, we have V100, which are the 100 most prolific, dangerous people the police target. That number goes up and down. So one month the V100 may be 120 people, or one month there may be 80 people, and each BCU has a localised V number. So when I was in Croydon a few weeks ago, the V number wasn't 100, it was a bit below. But as they reminded me, people can sometimes go in that list or out that list.
Thank you. Chairman, I was very clear on what
She asked 6 times, 6. And still, he dodged, deflected and hid behind political theatre. When pressed on grooming gangs, Sadiq Khan, the man responsible for London's safety, refused to say the words rape gangs. He couldn't even bring himself to admit they exist in the capital. Instead, he stammered, twisted the conversation, and tried to blur the line between county lines and organised child sexual exploitation. But the public wasn't fooled. This wasn't just evasion. It was cowardice on full display. A moment of national disgrace. A mayor under oath refusing to acknowledge the suffering of abused girls. And for millions watching across the UK, one thing became painfully clear. If a leader can't even name the crime, he'll never fight it. The room was tense, but the question was simple. Do rape gangs exist in London? And yet, Sadiq Khan, the man who governs the city, who has access to every police briefing, every intelligence file, every safeguarding report, stood there like a deer in headlights. Not once, not twice, but repeatedly. She asked the same direct question 6 times. And what did he do? He wriggled, he ducked, he tried to redefine the terms. He spoke about county lines, about funding schemes, about different definitions. But not once, did he say the words, rape gangs. And that's not a small omission, that's a betrayal. Because the victims know exactly what they were groomed into. It wasn't drug running. It wasn't vague exploitation. It was sexual abuse. Repeated, organised, brutal. And instead of standing up for those victims, Sadiq Khan hid behind bureaucratic language. He gaslit the questioner. He claimed he didn't understand what she meant, even as she described it plainly, clearly, and publicly. Exactly how much clearer do you want me to be? She asked again. I'm talking about rape gangs, like the ones we saw in Rotherham. Are they here in London? And yet he stood there, still claiming he didn't understand, still dodging, still refusing to utter the words that would force him to act. Let that sink in. The Mayor of London asked a yes or no question about child rape gangs, and he refused to answer. He didn't deny they existed. He didn't say they'd been tackled. He simply wouldn't say anything, and the silence was deafening. Because in that silence was every abused child's story ignored, every whistleblower punished, every community abandoned to political fear. And why? Why wouldn't he answer? Because to name the crime is to own it. To say rape gangs exist in London is to admit that politicians have failed. That despite all the posturing, all the funding, all the virtue signalling press releases, they still let it happen. And rather than risk the political blowback, Khan chose the safer path. Silence, evasion, cowardice. This wasn't just a bad look. It was a moment of national embarrassment. Because while victims cry out for justice, their own mayor couldn't even say what they endured. And for viewers across the country, it became obvious. This isn't about safety. It's about image. It's about protecting political capital, not protecting children. It's about fearing media headlines more than the truth, and it gets worse. Because behind Khan's silence is a system designed to protect itself. Reports buried, data suppressed, police hesitant to act for fear of being accused of prejudice, politicians more afraid of losing votes than losing girls. This is the cost of cowardice, and the people are done being polite about it. The question is no longer whether grooming gangs exist. We know they do. The only question is this: how many more will suffer before someone in power has the spine to face it?